What if everything you know about America is only part of the story? Because long before the United States became a global superpower, this land had already witnessed thousands of years of history, civilizations, Sankersh, and survival. The United States of America was born from revolution in the 18th century, and in less than 200 years, it rose to become one of the most powerful nations on Earth. But its story begins much earlier. Long before Europeans arrived, this vast continent was home to millions of people, ancient communities with their own cultures, languages, and beliefs. It's believed the first humans crossed into North America through a land bridge connecting Asia to Alaska during the Ice Age. As the glaciers melted, that bridge disappeared forever, but the people remained. They spread across the continent, forming powerful societies. Some built massive cities and trade networks. Others created advanced political systems, like the Iroquois Confederacy, one of the earliest forms of democracy. In the Southwest, stone villages rose from the desert, and across the land, nature shaped the lives and the beliefs of those who lived there. Then, everything changed. In 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic. He believed he had reached Asia. Instead, he had found a new world. His voyages opened the door for European exploration and conquest. Soon, Spain, Portugal, France, the Netherlands, and England rushed to claim land. But this discovery came at a cost. Diseases, war, and colonization devastated native populations. Entire civilizations were wiped out. Over time, European settlements began to grow. The English established colonies, including Jamestown in 1607. Tobacco plantations expanded rapidly, creating a demand for labor. At first, indentured servants filled the gap, but soon, a darker system took hold. Millions of enslaved Africans were forcibly brought across the ocean to work under brutal conditions. Meanwhile, the conflict grew between European powers. The French and British fought for control of land. Native tribes were pulled into these wars, forming alliances and facing devastating consequences. Eventually, Britain emerged as the dominant power in North America. But victory came with a price. After years of war, Britain was drowning in debt, so they turned to the colonies and demanded taxes. The colonists were furious. They had no representation in British Parliament. No taxation without representation became their cry. Tensions exploded. In 1770, violence in Boston left 5 colonists dead. 3 years later, protesters dumped British tea into the harbor. The British responded with force, but the colonies were ready. In 1775, the first shots of revolution were fired. Farmers, workers, ordinary people became soldiers. Under the leadership of George Washington, they formed the Continental Army. The war was long and uncertain. But everything changed when France joined the fight. With their support, the Americans achieved victory. In 1776, a document was signed, the Declaration of Independence, and in 1783, the United States was officially born, a new nation built on freedom and ambition. But the journey was far from over. The country began expanding westward, driven by a belief known as manifest destiny. New lands were claimed, often at the expense of Native Americans. Entire tribes were forced from their homes in what became known as the Trail of Tears. At the same time, a dangerous divide was growing. The North was industrial. The South depended on slavery. Tension turned into conflict. In 1861, the Civil War began. It became the bloodiest war in American history. Brother fought against brother. But in the end, the Union was preserved, and slavery was abolished. The nation began to heal, industry grew, cities expanded, and America stepped onto the world stage. In 1898, it fought Spain and emerged as a global power. Then came the 20th century, 2 world wars, that reshaped the entire planet. The United States entered both conflicts and helped secure victory, but the cost was immense. Hundreds of thousands of lives lost. In World War II, a terrifying new weapon was unleashed. Atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The war ended, but a new conflict began, the Cold War, a silent battle between the United States and the Soviet Union, a war of influence, technology, and fear. It led to the space race, and in 1969, humanity reached the moon. But while the nation advanced, it also faced struggles at home. The civil rights movement fought for equality and justice. Voices like Martin Luther King Jr. changed history forever. Then came a day the world would never forget.